That's bad.
Alright guys, welcome back to Project Dime a Dozen, our S10 build where we are trying to go fast for cheap. If you haven't seen any of the previous videos on the build series for this, go check them out, but quick rundown, this is my 1986 S10 that we've got a stock 6.0 with an eBay cam and a cheap power glide. The whole idea of the build series for this thing was inspired by Hot Rod Magazine's project car back in 1994, the Cheap Thrills Dart, where they went 12s for a $2,000 budget, ended up going 1260s for a little under 1,900 bucks. So I'm trying to do the same thing in 2022, 28 years later. And the modern take on that is a junkyard 6-liter with a $140 eBay cam kit, nothing else done to it. Well, valve springs, but that came with the cam. And then a used power glide with a manual valve body and some clutches, about a $300 unit, a Jegs converter. We reused the drive shaft that came with the truck. I reused the trans mount that came with the truck. So the transmission is all set. Now I just need a way to control it. If this had started off life as an automatic truck, I'd probably try to cobble together the column shift and make that work. But as you can tell by the big portal in the floor there, this was a 5-speed truck, which means I have to come up with a shifter. So this is the quarter stick that came out of the ARC-7. It was already set up for that power glide, so I know that it works with it. The cable's already adjusted for it. So all I've got to do now is just get it in the truck. And I was looking around Marketplace a bunch trying to come up with a fair market value for that shifter, because new they're pretty expensive, but you can find them used for between 100 and 150 bucks. I mean, some of them were like $250, but I think if you're a good negotiator, you can probably get them for cheaper. So I figured 150 bucks would probably be about fair. But before I could start test fitting the shifter in the truck, I had to clean all the junk out of it that's been sitting on the floor since I bought the truck. Hey, found the U-joint straps. Heck yeah. So the reason I decided to go with this shifter, one, obviously I already had it, so it wasn't money directly out of my pocket. And two, I think that the shifter that you put in your vehicle can completely change the personality. And this is one of my favorite shifters. I've had the precision shifters before in the White Firebird. I've used like the old B&M Mega shifters. For the record, I hate those. I cannot stand them. If you enjoy them, that's awesome. Don't let my opinion sway you. But me personally, I hate them. The quarter stick, whether it's the ball or the pistol grip, they are by far my favorite. I think I prefer the pistol grip, but by far my favorite. So we need to find a spot that's comfortable. Cool. I could just bolt it right here. That would probably work, actually. That actually could work. I don't necessarily hate it, but I don't love it either. I would much rather it be kind of like this. If I could get it up here like this, kind of on that angle too. Yeah, that way, once it's in high gear, it's straight up and down. Like, it's super comfortable. So, we gotta make a pedestal for it. And to do that, I want to make a plate that covers this hole and then weld a bar to it that comes up on an angle like this, obviously, and then to a plate that this thing will bolt to. So that means now I can go hunting for materials to start making it. So let's start taking some measurements of things so we know what we're looking for. This is roughly 7 by 8, give or take. And then this is what, like 2 by 7. And this will probably come up about a foot or so. So if we can find a bar that's about a foot or so, and then find some plate steel that we can cut up to make work for the base and the shifter, we're golden. Now I do have some 1/8" plate steel sitting on the bench over there that I could use, but where's the fun in that? I think I have something that would be much better for this situation. There we go. This old bumper has been sitting out here for, Jesus, since I built the pole barn. It's off a Ford. And I think that this is our shifter mount. So I brought the old bumper in the garage with a little bit less of the mud and ice that was in it, and started taking measurements for the section I was going to cut out. The hole on the floor is about 7 by 8 inches wide, and I was going to mark off a section a little bit wider than that so that I could use a spare piece off of what I cut out as the base plate for the shifter. Now, you've probably noticed by now that this bumper isn't exactly what I would call flat. So I had to take care of that somehow, which involved getting the big hammer out and just swinging it 900 times until I kind of persuaded it into a different shape. And this might come as a surprise to hear, but using the floor as an anvil wasn't the most effective thing. So I looked in the back of the truck and the old 300-pound flywheel was still in there. Once I was content with how flat it was, I took it back over to the hole in the floor and started marking off exactly what I needed to cut out of it. And then I threw that up in the bench vise and just started death wheeling the thing apart. And the leftover piece was almost the perfect size for the shifter base, so I got that marked off and cut that out too.
Alright, this fits pretty well actually. There's enough overhang that I think in each corner I can drill a hole and put a bolt through it. So what I'm going to start off with is I'll probably try to run a long self-tapper through each corner to get the pilot hole started and to hold it in place while I drill a hole for the actual nut and bolt. But I think I'm going to do that, just leave the self-tappers in while I'm making it so that I can pull it out from up here. And then once it's all made and looking good, then I'll drill it for the actual bolts. This one I think broke. That's all right. All right, now that I got the floor plate made and the shifter plate, we mutually decided that right about here, right about there, felt good. Yeah, I'd need a piece about a foot long. So now we're trying to hunt for that.
And I've got a few things. What I'd like to use is this. This is a 1/2 inch, I think, like plumbing pipe. Got that from Ace, like a 4-foot long piece for $18. But I don't have a foot long piece of that. All I have left is that scrap. So I've got 2 pieces of chromoly here that I refuse to use for this. I think this is a leftover piece from Jack's roll cage. Yeah, this I know is a leftover piece of Jack's roll cage. This, I don't know what that is. So I think this is 1 5/8. Yeah, 1 5/8. So the diameter's right. It's a little beefier than we need, to be honest. Like 1 inch would be perfect.
Had to run to the hardware store to get it, but I got a 2-foot piece. This was $5.49 after tax and everything.
But I can cut this to the right angle I think I need, which will be give or take like this. That puts us right on the money. So now let's replace that there. That's pretty good. Now we need to figure out the angle of our dangle here. I want it about like that. So, putting the angle finder on it to get this like that. We are, give or take, 10 degrees. Alright, we now have our shifter. Boom! So it's pretty tall, so it does move around a little bit. The shifter's not actually bolted down, but the base itself, you know, it's the nature of the beast. These things are going to flex around a little bit. But I'm super happy with it. It's going to do the job. It's in a nice, comfortable spot. I still need to tighten the bolts here and drill these out for actual nuts and bolts to just help keep it a little bit more secure. But yeah, I think it's awesome. I drilled a hole in the plate for the cable. Fits through perfectly snug, like a machine fit. So yeah, I think we're one step closer to cruising this thing. So that's one more thing off the to-do list. Now we can move on to the next thing, which will be in the next video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. It doesn't get much more budget beater hot rod than cutting up an old truck bumper and making a shifter mount out of it. So yeah, that is going to do it for today's video. I don't know what we're going to do in the next one or when that will be because, you know, holidays. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you guys for subscribing, clicking the bell to get the notifications, and I will see you guys next time.